Alright, so in this short tutorial guide for BioForce HRV, we're going to cover the different screens and some of the features that are included with the system. Now there's two parts to it. First, there's the mobile application, which is used to measure and store your data, and the second is the web app, which also stores your data from the mobile app and offers some additional features as well. Now we're going to start by looking at different screens for the mobile application and cover what they are and how they work, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the web app. This first screen here is just the home screen, and that's simply going to list the name of the system, of course BioForce HRV, and it's where you're going to start and save your application or save your data once you've taken the measurement. The second screen is the chart screen, and this is where you're going to get your BioForce HRV score, which is always shown up at the top, along with the daily change, the weekly change, and the monthly change, as well as the graph of the daily number. So the top number, of course, is your HRV. The scale is generally in the 40 to 100 plus range, but the vast majority of people are going to be in the 50 to 90s. You will occasionally see certain people with very high aerobic fitness and very high HRV above 100, but for the most part you're going to see those ranges stick in the 60 to 90s range. The daily change, of course, is the change from yesterday's reading to today, and that's also where you're going to get your color indication, which is going to show a green, an amber, or red. And those colors are what are going to correlate and correspond to your readiness for that day. The green, of course, means you're well recovered, well rested, your HRV is in normal parameters, and it means generally you can train hard. An amber indication is a sign that there's a bit of fatigue there, there's not complete recovery, and you're going to want to back your training load down a bit for the day. Red reading, on the other hand, of course, means you're experiencing quite a bit of fatigue, your numbers are far outside your normal ranges, and you're probably going to take a day off or do active recovery. Now the weekly change and the monthly change simply show you the difference between where you're at now and where your average was a week or a month prior to that date. If your average HRV score 7 days ago was 10 points below what your current average HRV score is, then that's going to give you a change of 10. And same thing with a month. It's just looking at the change in average HRV score over a month. And of course we'll cover more in depth what those numbers mean in the HRV book, but those numbers are just going to give you a simple guideline or a simple way to check what your average HRV is today compared to where it was a month or a week prior. Now in the screen down below you can see the graph, and that graph is basically a moving indication of what your scores are over the course of time, with the green, the amber, and the red lines indicating each particular day, and the blue line indicating your trend or your average HRV score moving as you progress through the tests. Now you can, by touching those screen, the graph, you can scroll between a record of all of your data that's stored in the system. You can see 1 month of data, 1 week of data, or 3 months of data. So you can get different perspectives on what your HRV scores have looked like over those different points in time. And again, you're going to see green lines on days where you were well rested and well recovered, and you had a green HRV indication. You're going to see the amber on those days, and then you're going to see the red on the red days, of course, and those are going to correlate to the daily change. Now, the edit screen is where you're going to find all of your data scored in simple numerical format. It's going to show you the date, the time, your HRV, and your heart rate score, of course, while you're taking those. And it's going to also, at the very top, allow you to export your data log by email, which means you can send that file in a CSV file to wherever you'd like. If you want to send your email or elsewhere, you can send that data to be analyzed elsewhere. And if you have the Bluetooth version, it's in this edit screen where you're going to want to select to turn on the Bluetooth smart strap, the Polar H7, for the system to read. Now the other thing to note is that you're going to want to use the mobile or the web application, and in order to do that you have to enter in your username and password into the screen as soon as you begin using the app, and then it'll store that data in there, so you will not have to do this each time. But in order to save your data and use the system for the first time, you will have to enter in your username and password that you created when you set up your BioForce HRV account when you first purchased the system. Now please note that this system can only be used by one person. Your data is stored online in the web application, which we're going to cover next, and that means one account per person or the data simply won't work. So this isn't something that you can share with multiple people. If you're looking for the team or pro trainer version, which allows you to do that, contact us for more info. But the system does need to be used by just one person. So that is the basics of the mobile application. Let's move on and show you how the web application works.